Hello, I'm Aaron Yarbrough.
Jackson Connor.
And I'm Henry Pierre.
For our CSAN project, we decided to research how the federal government keeps the air that we breathe safe and healthy for consumption.
You may not realize it, but the federal government's effects on the air that we breathe is a lot bigger than you may think.
Now, before we start looking at what the federal government does to prevent air pollution, let's look into what air pollution is, what causes it, and why do we need to be concerned.
Air pollution is a collection of toxic chemicals and particles in the air that can harm the health of organisms, including animals, humans, and plants. Today, we are continuing to find more and more chemicals that pollute and destroy the air. We interviewed the Director of Air Quality Assessment Division in the EPA's Office of Air Quality, Planning, and Standards, Chet Wayland. This is what he had to say on the new chemicals we are discovering.
What we call emerging pollutants, which are pollutants that, 20 years ago we didn't know about, and today we do. And some of these are new chemicals that are been created as new products are made and new chemicals are developed. And we need to learn how to monitor those chemicals and then even how to regulate those chemicals to protect, public health and the environment.
The main source of household air pollution is from the burning of fossil fuels, wood, and other biomass-based fuels to cook, heat, and light homes, stuff you use almost every single day. Around 4.3 million premature deaths are caused by indoor air pollution each year, the vast majority of them coming from countries that are not yet fully developed. So what that means is that when you are using your heater, turning on lights, or using your fireplace and stove, you are contributing to air pollution. Now, all of this stuff is stuff that you have to do in order to live comfortably, but you should try to limit the stuff as much as possible, like turning off the lights when you leave and turning off the heat when you go away for a span of multiple days.
Although air pollution has been getting better recently, thanks to the federal government, it is still really bad. In eastern national parks, the average distance of the view has decreased exponentially from 90 miles all the way down to 15 to 25 miles. In all of 2020, the U.S. released a total amount of 50 million tons of carbon emissions, around half of those being from vehicles like cars and planes. Vehicles like cars are something you probably don't think twice about using. They help you get from to places quickly and easily. Well, I hate to break it to you, but vehicles are the number one cause of air pollution in our country. When the cars are on, they release exhaust, which acts as a pollutant to the air we breathe. This short video clip shows Mary Nichols, a member of the California Air Research Board, talking about Volkswagens and how bad their emissions specifically are.
Penalties that Volkswagen paid for the cheating that they did on their diesel vehicles mostly went to funds that were allocated to overcoming the impacts of all the extra nitrogen oxide emissions that people were forced to breathe as a result of the cheating that went on.
Now, what is the federal government doing to reduce air pollution in places around the U.S.? Well, they study pollution numbers in locations around the country, report on them, and then make and enforce laws to help lower the number of pollutants throughout the country.
One big example of that is the Clean Air Act. The Clean Air Act is a federal law that was signed by President Richard Nixon at the end of 1970. This law aimed to restrict the amount of air emissions from both stationary and mobile sources. In 1990, an amendment was made to the Clean Air Act. This amendment added more strict restrictions on air pollutions in order to do things like reduce acid rain and depletion of ozone layer. After this law was passed by Congress, the responsibility of carrying it out was given to the EPA. The EPA talks with leaders at state, local, and tribal levels to put these laws into action so that they can see the results they are hoping for.
In addition to executing these laws, the EPA also releases a yearly report called the Air Trends Quality Report that shows the amount of emissions throughout the past year as well as how clean the air is. This data also reflects how successful their efforts were in executing what they were supposed to. They can then use this data to see what they did well and what they need to change and improve on for the next.
Since the Clean Air Act amendment was put into place, we have seen large improvements in the quality of our air. This graph shows the amount of days the U.S. air fell into the unhealthy for sensitive groups category. From 35 different major U.S. cities, you can see that from 2000 to 2020, The number has gone down by about 1,400 days and has been on a downhill trend since the Clean Air Act was put into place.
We can also use this graph to look at how the amounts of certain air pollutants have changed since 1990. We have seen huge drops in sulfur dioxide, SO2, lead, Pb, and carbon monoxide, CO, with 91, 86, and 73% drops respectively from 1990. The federal government has been doing a lot to keep the air that we breathe safe and healthy for human consumption. To end off our presentation, we are going to cut to Mr. Chet Wayland on what ordinary people like us can do to fight against air pollution.
Clearly, things like carpooling, using mass transit, looking when you buy things, when people buy products, are these things that are renewable? Are they recyclable?
Thank you for listening to our project on what the federal government does to keep the air around us clean. We hope that you will help them on their journey to improve the health of the air around us.